Hi everyone, happy Tuesday. It's oral communication in context because Tuesday means English Day and it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon and you are actually hanging out with us with your tutors for today. I am Tutor Nova.
And I am Tutor Alvin, and
So,
welcome to oral communication session for because Tuesday is English Day, right?
right, Tutor Alvin, and we are going to be together for 40 minutes discussing week number three's topic about.
All right, the strategies to avoid communication breakdown, and I think it's very important, right, ma'am?
It is indeed. We got to know what are these strategies for us to avoid, communication failure or miscommunication. As what Taylor Swift once said, miscommunication leads to fallout. So, yeah, so we got to know these strategies for today. And I think, Sir Alvin, you want to show on the slide there the best outputs that you had for week number two.
Yes, ma'am, because last week I challenged right our participants to share the importance of understanding the models of communication, and we were able to select two best outputs who shared
Oh, that's
their
cool.
insights in our Depth Ed It's Like Facebook group. And one of our best outputs is the ones of Kisha Mirandilia Ibay. So yan. So what's the importance of communication models in understanding? Let me read the last part. It's using the model, all right, it enables us to know what kind of communication is being performed on us. So I think that's
Wow.
the best part of what Kisha mentioned. Actually, Kisha is from Santa Maria National High School in Pampanga,
That's
Tutornova,
great. That
right?
is great to hear, Sir Alvin. And indeed, I think Keisha was able to use the interactive communication model wherein there is feedback. And it's great when we hear feedback from our dear cuties, Sir Alvin.
Okay, Kisha, that's a good job. And aside from Kisha, we have another. Okay, we have another. And Tuternova, he is no other than
He is Mark Platon, our ultimate favorite E2 live treaty, all the way from, I think he is from SDO Pasig.
Pasig.
He's from Pasig. And I gotta say, I'm always amazed by his outputs, and he often give me messages when it comes to what he was able to understand in the week's topic or discussion. And I really admire how he was able to construct his thoughts. Well, as much as I wanted to read everything, but it's a little bit tiny when it comes to the fonts. But overall, I think we were able to read this before the live, Sir Alvin. And what Mark Platon was mentioning here was the how vital the discussions are in oral communication because communication takes place, every day. And we communicate to everyone, to anyone that we like. So that's why he said that the week two and even the week one's discussion was really helpful for him.
Okay, that's right. Another good job for you, Mark, for your consistent participation in our weekly session in oral communication.
Indeed,
Okay.
Sir Alvin. Well, Sir Alvin, I also need to mention my students who are tuning in with us here in our oral communication in context class.
Yeah,
So
that's
they
right,
are
ma'am. So
always with us. Yeah.
okay, shout out to all the learners, to all our senior high school students from City of Bogo Science and Arts Academy. Nabalitaan ko, ma'am, they were able to survive, all right, the Squid Game inspired recitation of yours for them. So
Indeed, Sir
congratulations.
Alvin.
Yeah.
So I need to commend them for a job well done. And I think that they always take notes of what they have understood in every discussion that you have. So, Sir Alvin, I think it's time for me to exit the stream because I will be giving the floor to you for week three's discussion. Sir Vin?
Okay, thank you, Tutor Nova. So, um, again, it's Tuesday, a new day, an amazing day. So, welcome to another fun filled learning session in oral communication. Together, we will learn and win with yours truly, Tutor Alvin. So before we begin, I would like to greet everyone here, to all our student participants. Okay, hello to Rafael Faye Ibay Nota from 12 Leviticus of SMHS, Vicky Vale Veles Montecalvo, of CBSAA STEM 11 Chromium. To Joanna Ursal Torrejos, good afternoon. Okay, to Elaine Jane Di Macali of 12 Joshua of Santa Maria High School, Macabebe, good afternoon also. Okay, hello to Kimberly from SMHS. Angela Salvacion Dignos, STEM 11 Uranium of CBSAA. And even Christy Ahem. All right, and many more comments that I'm going to read later as we go on with our discussion. So, yeah, hello to Jesseril S. Vertumbaga. Good afternoon also. Very I'm very happy that you're here. So please tune in from the beginning up to the end of our discussion because I prepared a new lesson which you will surely enjoy at the same time you'll learn, okay, in this session. So um, we'll be talking for this session about the strategies to avoid communication breakdown. Okay, hello to Jess Nino. So our targets or our objectives for this session are: first, we must identify the different barriers to communication. Second, distinguish the strategies to avoid communication breakdown. And lastly, use various strategies to avoid communication breakdown. So, before we move on, let's have first a recap. So, last meeting or last session, last week, we talked about the models of communication. So, again, what are the models of communication? If you can still remember, I want to read your answers in our comment section. So, models of communication or communication model are considered as the systematic representation of the process which helps in understanding for us to understand how communication works can be done, and it is categorized into three. Okay, what are the three um main types or the main communication models? Okay, Kimberly mentioned linear. What's the other one? Or what are the other two? We have also, yeah, interactive and transactional. Okay? So the linear model as a review, ayan, na may nabasa ako dito according to Josephine Lumbao, okay, one of our consistent viewers. The linear model is a what do we call it? It is one way, right? It is one way. Okay? Example, the Shannon Weaver. Next one is the interactive model, which is a two-way communication model because of the presence of yeah, very good, the presence of feedback. And lastly, we have the transactional model, which is also two-way, but then the only difference in the transactional model, it is simultaneous and it shows dynamism, okay, in interaction among communicators. So just always remember that um, that in linear model, communication is a thing. In the interactive model, communication is about sending and receiving. And in the transactional model, communication is integrated in our social realities. And those are the models of communication. Okay, so actually I prepared another activity, a very short activity, but since I guess, Jan, I've already seen you've mentioned different examples to each model and you're already familiar with this one. Okay, so very good recap, well done, and way to go. So we're done already. We're officially done with the second week, okay, or our second topic, the models of communication. So let's now move on. Are you now ready for our next lesson? For our lesson for this week, please, okay, react, heart, okay, heart emoji, or even thumbs up for me to know that you're ready to have our next session, our next lesson. Okay, Yan, thank you for your support, dear participants. So, as what I've said, we'll be talking for today the strategies to avoid communication breakdown. What is communication breakdown? What are the barriers to effective communication? And what are the effective strategies to avoid communication breakdown? And expectedly, these questions will all be answered, okay, in this episode, in this session, rather. So, come on, let's go. So communication is a process, right? Of sharing, of exchanging thoughts, ideas, and opinions, okay, in order to connect with other people. So its goal is to achieve a clear and effective understanding, resulting to good relationships in the community. But, okay, however, there are times when this goal is not reached due to certain factors. Okay, when this happens, there is what do we call communication breakdown, right? So, according to Rogers in 2018, what is communication breakdown? What do we mean by communication breakdown? Ano bang naiintindihan nyo pag sinabi nating communication breakdown? Mayroong communication breakdown. So, here, communication breakdown is defined as the failure to exchange information resulting in a lack of communication. So, when the message is not successfully sent, when the message is not successfully received, therefore there is a failure. There is what we call lack of communication, or we also call as miscommunication. As miscommunication. So now, I'll be showing you some situation and please identify what is the problem, okay, in that communicative situation. I want to read your answers in our comment section, right? So let's begin with the first situation. Okay, will you please give me your observation? Hello to Ronald Vitorvo. Will you please state your school, Ronald, so that I can shout out your school? Carla Orques, STEM 11 Uranium. Good good afternoon to Generos Paulino of UMS 11B. Okay. What can you say? Okay. According to Faye, Rafael Faye, there is noise. Noise. Okay. Casil, noise. Okay, you answered in unison. Yeah, noise. Okay, there is noise. How about in this one? Is there a miscommunication? And even in this one, car noises, according to James Maswangat. Leia, okay, the man is having a conversation, but the crowd, yeah, is noisy. It is a noisy environment. Okay, you see it right. Okay, Christian Charles, I think it's for the second picture. There is a misinterpretation, misunderstanding. There are conflicts, Giancarlo. All right. My question is is miscommunication or communication breakdown happening in each situation? Yes or no? Okay, there is an argument according to Troy. Do you think there is miscommunication? Yes, there is. So, but why? What causes miscommunication? Definitely because of the communication barriers. So we'll begin our discussion with the barriers to communication. Is it not? We've already discussed barriers to communication as one of the elements of communication. So let's just have a review of communication barriers. So when we say communication barriers, it can include anything that prevents or disables communicators to what? To deliver the right message to the right person at the right time, or a receiver to get the right message at the right time. So let's just put it in this way. This is the process of communication. But then there is a barrier, okay, which hampers, which stops, okay, which interferes the communication process. So when a barrier, okay, appear in any phase, okay, in any stage of the communication process, therefore, it is expected miscommunication will happen at any rate, at any time. And that's how barriers could negatively affect the process of communication. Okay, for this session, we'll be focusing on the four categories of communication barriers. These are physical barriers, cultural barriers, psychological barriers, and the linguistic barriers. Okay, so are you now ready to learn them one by one? Okay, let's begin with the barriers to effective communication. Okay, please notice this picture. Okay, here is Lloyd, okay, John Lloyd, who is busy and in answering his modules, but then his neighbor, okay, played us a music, a song which is too loud. What do you think, okay, is the thing that cause, okay, that causes um him to be disturbed? Okay, it is yeah, the loud noise from the loudspeaker. And this is one. Okay, there's a distraction. Yeah, you're right, Howard. This is an example of, or one of the physical barriers. Tutor Alvin, what are physical barriers? Physical barriers are the natural or environmental condition, okay, which can hamper, which can prevent the communication or the sending of the message from sender to receiver. Some examples of physical barriers are competing stimulus, okay, like just like the example I showed you, all right. The sound of the loudspeaker from the neighborhood is competing, okay, with 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 Lloyd's focus on answering his module. Another, no, the the barking of the dogs, or anything that somehow compete with you when you are talking, causing miscommunication. Another is the weather or climate, right? Have you experienced attending in an online class and then umulan na sobrang lakas? Halos hindi mo na maintindihan, okay, ang discussion because what I mean is the the weather is not that good. Even the climate, of course, kung naiinitan ka when you're speaking, right? Hindi, what I mean, hindi yun masarap sa pakiramdam. You're not comfortable. So it might cause also miscommunication or communication breakdown. Another is the health. Okay, the health condition, particularly the physical health condition of the person, and the ignorance of the medium. What do you mean by the ignorance of the medium? Okay, you want to communicate using Google Meet, okay, using Zoom. If you're not familiar with that, you don't know how to use that, of course, that would be a barrier. You can never participate in a communication, in a virtual communication, if you don't know how to use that medium. All right. So, will you please give me another physical barriers? Okay, I want to read the comment section. Will you please give me another physical barriers um, that could somehow lead to miscommunication? Okay, so these are other examples. Okay, when people talking too loud, the noise from a construction site, yeah. Okay, the loud sound of the karaoke, and the blaring of jeepney horns. How about the others? What are the other examples? Yan, people talking too loud, noise. Okay, the barks of dogs. Yes. What are the other physical barrier you've ever experienced? Okay, yeah, when closing or shutting the door, no, it can somehow produce noise, a sudden noise. Yeah, karaoke, construction site, and many more. And these are the example of physical barriers. The noisy neighbors, according to Gera, okay, Pintor, when people are shouting, kids playing, yeah, you've shared, no, the different physical barriers you're experiencing, the neighborhoods, the traffic noise. Okay, so now I think that's clear. Let's move now to disco sa barangay from Jos Haves, Pahulayan, right? Di ba lalo, busy-busy kang sumasagot, nag-aaral, and then there is somewhat physical barrier like that. It's somewhat distracting. So the vehicles. Yeah, Teddy, that's great. That's correct. Let's move on to the next one. Okay. I think here the boy is, or let's name him. He is Philip. Okay. He is about to deliver his speech. But then I think there's problem in this situation. What? What do you think is the problem? Yeah, okay. Nahihiya, okay. Kinakabahan, according to Troy. Nervous. Okay, there is here's Carl Yabut, emotional barrier. Sabi ni Christian, fear down, nervous. Okay, Jezreel, Philip forgot his script. Kyla mentioned nervous, shyness. He's not prepared. Okay, yeah, all your answers are correct. And and those responses of yours fall under the psychological barriers. Yan, lack of confidence, he's nervous. All of those fall under the category of psychological barriers. What are these? These are also called mental barriers. Okay? Mental barriers, your social and personal issues um, that can prevent to effect for you to communicate effectively to other people. Examples are the thoughts and perceptions. No, naiisip mo, "Ay, hindi ko kaya to. Ah, judgmental ang mga audience ko. Hindi ko kaya." So, mangyayari talagang ganon. All right? So, it's a barrier causing you to share information ineffectively to your audience. Another is one's status. Okay, your knowledge, and even your feelings and emotion. Lahat na yon, lahat ng naiisip mo, what you, all your thoughts, okay, and what you feel, okay, when they are negative, of course, it negatively impact your communication or your speech presentation. So we call this the psychological barriers. Always remember psychological, naiisip, nararamdaman. Okay, that can hamper, that can that can interfere your communication with other people. So will you please give me another example of psychological barriers that could somehow you've experienced, okay? You've experienced which cause you to have miscommunication with other people. So some other examples are trauma. Yan, pressure according to Angela. Panic attacks, yeah, Rafael Faye, that's correct. Shyness, lack of confidence, even depression. Joe Brigoli, social anxiety, yeah, James, panic attack, fear and stage fright. Those are under the psychological barriers, the psychological barriers. Next one, ayan, we're done with the physical and psychological. What word can you decipher using the picture? It shows atubag ka crush. Okay? I sige. Stress. Yan. Anger. Yeah, your emotions. Oh, about this picture, class. What word can you get, all right, from the picture? It shows what? Difference in, yeah, Teddy, you got it right. Difference in culture. Okay, do you know that culture can also be a barrier to effective communication? Yeah, the answer is it's true because we have the cultural barriers. The cultural barriers. So these pertain to communication problems encountered by people regarding their intrinsic values, beliefs, and traditions in conflict with others. So our culture, no, ang paniniwala natin, our belief, our tradition, and yung mga pagpapahalaga natin, they can be sometimes problematic. But not all the time, class. Not all the time. Kailan ba lang ba nagiging problema ang culture, ang pagkakaiba ng culture? When we do not respect, we do not understand, and we do not appreciate the culture of other people, then it will become a problem. But then, if there is respect, okay, there is acceptance, okay, or there's an open-mindedness to different differences in culture, cultural identity, in gender role, in difference in age, in social class, and even in religion, everyone, okay, will have a very harmonious communication. But then there are some people who who what do we call it, who disagree to the culture of other people, and I think that's not right because it may lead to miscommunication. Okay, it may lead to miscommunication. Just remember that when cultures are not being respected, oh, of course, it may lead to communication breakdown. It may lead to communication breakdown. But then, in spite, okay, in spite of your differences in culture, you can still have a very effective and a very congenial communication. The word, the big word for today is hashtag respect. Okay, so will you please give me another cultural barriers? Yeah, and racism. That's right. The beliefs. It can be a barrier in love, like in marriage. Yeah, when you don't share the same religion. But I think for every problem there is a solution. Or the different beliefs, the traditions and customs, the manners of dressing, and even in speaking. So yeah, so these are the cultural barriers. And lastly, okay, let's have the another classification of barrier. I want to say obrigado, toda, espasibo, kapon, grazie, gracias, shukran, tak, siesye, kamsamnida, and okay, it presents what? It means thank you in English. And in Tagalog, salamat. Okay? Language is very important because it's very impossible for us to communicate without using a language. But then, language can also be a barrier, particularly difference, okay, differences in language. And we call this the linguistic barriers. Okay, when we understand language differently, when words have different meanings, they can cause sometimes what? Confusion and misunderstanding because there are many ways of saying a certain thing. Okay, there are many ways of saying a certain thing. If you're not familiar on that one way, therefore it may lead to confusion, it may lead to misunderstanding dahil hindi mo naman yun naiintindihan. So what are the different features of the linguistic barriers? It can be, of course, the different languages. Tama. Iba-iba ang wika. Of course, if your language is not the same as to the person who you are talking with, therefore you'll not understand it one another. Okay? Another is, yeah, the accent issue according to Giancarlo, and the dialect, of course. When you say dialect, it is the version of a language. Hindi ibig sabihin na may alam nyo ang iisang wika, nagkakaintindihan na kayo. No. Because in a single language, there are various dialects. A language can have many versions, and we call this a dialect, making it the language used in a particular location different. Okay? And under the dialect, we have also the accent, how people pronounce words. Okay? Just like in English class, just like in English, okay? British English is um, spoken or used differently in the English of the American, in the US, in the USA. Okay, so they have different accent, the way they pronounce words. They have difference also in vocabulary, the way the words are presented or they are used. All right, so it can be still an issue if we're not familiar, okay, if we're not familiar with the different accents or with the different dialects of the English language. So we must be familiar or aware with these language differences, okay? And even those language created by a group of people like the gay lingo or the gay slang, yeah, okay, considered as slang or informal terms. The tone of your voice. Okay, let's have this one. Okay, even though the people from the USA and the people from the United Kingdom, okay, are using the same language, it's English. Then they have difference, okay, in vocabulary and in accent or pronunciation. Let's have this one. Okay, the floors of a house. Do you know? Okay, pag unang palapag, anong tawag natin usually sa English? We call it the first floor, right? But in UK, okay, the British English version of that is the ground floor. Ground floor pa lang yon. Ground floor ang tawag. Okay? Then, kapag second floor na sa Amerika, first floor pa lang yon sa British English. Okay? Can you see the difference? Can you see the difference? Okay. Another is this one. Okay, what do we call this usually? We call this, okay, it is a closet in American English. And we have also, we call it in British, wardrobe. Wardrobe. Right? Okay, so parehong tama lang. So kailangan lang consistent. Kung ang version mo ng English na ginagamit mo is American, you use closet. If it is British one, you use wardrobe. But you're both correct. You have only to be consistent. Okay, next is this one. Okay, saang sports, okay, we use this ball. Okay, what's the name of the sport? Yes, it is soccer. In soccer in America, but then in British it is called football. Football. So how about the American football? Okay, it's of different thing. Okay, this is the American football. Can you see the ball used? It is oval, I think. Okay, it is oval. So the there's difference. Another is, how about this one? Okay, where can you usually use the where can you usually see this? On what station? Okay, at the, okay, gasoline station, because in America they call it gasoline. Gasoline. How about in British? Okay, in British it is, okay, petrol. Okay, or petrol station. Okay, we have Petron. Iba na ata yan, Josh. It's a brand. Okay, anyway, that's great. How about this one? What do we call this? Familiar tayo dito. We're familiar. This is okay, a pair of pants. A pair of pants. In British English, its counterpart is, okay, trousers. Trousers. And many more, no? Like this one. Okay, another is in pronunciation. In pronunciation, di ba? Alam natin na British siya kapag ang R is nadadrop na. Okay? Nadadrop na. Example is one. In British, it is, okay, ay American, it is car. In British, car. Okay? Car. Another, this one. This button indicate start. Start. In British, it is start. Please press the start button. Okay. So another difference in spelling. All right, the middle T. The middle T, the difference between the British version and the American version. In the British version, when the T is in the middle, it is still pronounced as t, prominent. In American English, it is somewhat sound like a fast D. Fast D. Not totally D. It's fast D. 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 Something like that. Okay. So if I'm going to read it, okay, the first version is the British. The next one is American. Listen. First word is, okay, British, better. American, better. Next word, water. Water. Hated. In America, hated. In British, writing. American version, writing. Next, bottom. Bottom. Native. Native. Artificial. Artificial. And last is notice. Notice. Can you see the difference? Okay, when the T is in the middle, in the British English, it is pronounced fast, it's T. In American English, it is pronounced as fast D. All right, so those are some differences in language. Okay, and that's a linguistic barrier. So we have to be familiar in the different features, the grammar, the pronunciation, and the vocabulary of a particular language for us to eliminate these barriers, for us to have what do we call it? Um, to have a successful communication with other people. Now, I would like to share to you, my dear participants, the strategies to avoid communication breakdown. So, what are the strategies to avoid communication breakdown? I would like to share to you the 7 C's of effective communication. Okay, so please listen. First one is completeness. Of course, it's very important that what information we give to our participants are complete. Okay, complete, because it resembles to completeness, to everything what they need is already on what you're saying. Completeness. Make sure communication is complete. Number two, conciseness. Conciseness, direct to the point. When you want to say something, be direct to the point. Be straightforward. Number three, consideration. Sino ko consider mo? Of course, your audience. Okay? Their mood, their background, the information about them, their education, their status, so that you can give the best information they need. That's why you need to consider your audience. Number four, concreteness. How can we make communication, or what we say, concrete? Make sure it is supported by facts, by numbers, and real life instances. Okay? So may mga evidence ka, hindi lang basta sinabi mo. To make your communication concrete, there must be evidence supported by facts. Di pwedeng chismis. Bawal ang chismis. No, baka magkaroon ng miscommunication, mag-away-away kayo. So make sure everything is supported by facts, makatotohanan. Number five, courtesy. Courtesy. Of course, it's a must. When you communicate, you show respect to the person who you communicate with. That's courtesy. Number six, clearness. clarity, malinaw, maliwanag. It's very important that you are using only simple and specific words, not words that are too very unfamiliar to the audience. They will not get it. They will not get it, causing confusion and misunderstanding. When you communicate with them, make sure what you're saying is clear, it's simple. And lastly, among the seven C's is correctness. It's very important. It's a must that correct in grammar, correct in pronunciation, or everything that you say is correct. Is correct. Do not spread fake news. No, baka ano, no, ma-issue ka, maging delikado tayo. So make sure everything is correct. Everything is correct. So those are the strategies to avoid communication breakdown. Going back to our example a while back. Um, di ba? We identified the problem in this one. The man can clearly understand the voice call because of the noise coming from the vehicles. Will you please give me solution? Okay, what are the possible solutions? Kasi dapat ganyan eh. Kapag nakaranas tayo, when we experience barriers or miscommunication, we need to do something else. Okay? We need to do something else para maging effective, maging maganda ang flow ng communication natin. If you are to give solution, okay, to this man, what would that be? Okay, what's the best possible solution na dapat gawin ni Kuya dito? All right, yes. Pwedeng use headphone with built-in and noise cancelling microphone. Pwede. Pero kung wala na talaga, dapat look and go to a quieter place para maging smooth ang flow ng ating. Yeah, tama, Jermaine. Go find for a quiet area. Yan, di ba? Ang galing. Nakakabuo kayo ng inyong mga strategies. Yan ang kailangan natin. Okay, yan ang kailangan natin. Look for the strategies, look for solutions once we experience this communication breakdown and miscommunication. Great idea, magagaling. Okay. So, another one, for this one. Okay. Will you please comment? Okay. Stay sa balay, according to Angela. For this one, comment down below the possible solution you can propose to somewhat solve this miscommunication. Okay. So, I'll be reading your comments. Yes, we're done. Okay. So, I hope everyone learned in our discussion. Just always remember, a communication breakdown is defined as a failure to exchange information resulting in a lack of communication. And it is because of the communication barriers, okay, causing the communication breakdown. Yeah, yeah, I love your answers. I love your solutions. So communication barriers can be physical, psychological, cultural, and even linguistic. So as strategies, okay, to avoid communication breakdown, there we have the 7 C's of effective communication by Bloom, Cutlip, and Center. First one, the first C is completeness, conciseness, consideration, concreteness, courtesy, clearness, and correctness. Okay, correctness. Yeah, respect your opinions. So, actually, I prepared a test, but then I guess I'll just be presenting it for on our next session before we begin our session 4. So, wait. Okay. Okay, but then sa mga responses ninyo, sa mga comments ninyo, I would like to congratulate everyone because I hope and I do expect that everyone learned in our session for today about the strategies to avoid communication breakdown. So, for our weekly challenge number 3, okay, I hope everyone would participate, would do this, and Please cite a situation when you experienced a communication breakdown or miscommunication with somebody else. What did you do to overcome it? Diba? Sige, share nga tayo ng mga naging problema natin in communication and what did you do to overcome it? Please, please, please share your answers in your social media account or in our DepEd E2 Live Facebook group using the following hashtags. Hashtag Learn with Tutor Alvin and hashtag Itulay Oralcom 2021 and hashtag Itulay Level Up. Please do a screenshot of this activity for you to be guided. All right. So, how was it? We would love to hear your thoughts um, or feedbacks on how, or feedback, sorry, on how we can improve your experience. Okay, please scan this QR code and then go to this link. Okay, so did you enjoy our session today, senior high school learners? I do hope that you learned a lot from your learning adventures. How about giving ourselves a great job clap? Right. So please tune in again next week, same day, same time, for another learning journey in oral communication. Again, this is Tutor Alvin, okay, saying be the best in oral communication in context. Till then, happy learning. See you next week.